Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the regular City Council meeting for the Rockport City Council for January the 28th. We'll call the meeting to order and ask you to stand with us and do the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag led by Councilman Brundrett.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You have a seat. Next item on the agenda is citizens to be heard. Speaker participation instructions are provided in writing at the beginning of the agenda. The Texas Open Meetings Act permits a member of the public or a member of the governmental body to raise a subject that has not been included in the notice in the agenda. However, any discussion of the subject must be limited to a proposal to place the subject on the agenda for a future meeting, and any response to a question posed to the City Council is limited to either a statement of specific factual information or a recitation of existing policy under Texas Government Code 551.042. I have got 4 requests to speak. We will have a public hearing related to the speed limit change. If you want to speak at this time, it'll be fine. The first one we're going to start with is Jennifer Day.
Hi, good evening. Jennifer Day, 902 Cornwall Street, Rockport, Texas. I'm here to speak to you about items number 11 and 14 on the agenda tonight. As you're probably aware, the 89th state legislative session has began a few weeks ago, and there is particular interest and support for the arts, and those 2 items specifically refer to that. One of them refers to cultural districts several times. I want to express something about your cultural arts district here in Rockport, and that is we were designated in 2016 by the Texas Commission on the Arts. We were one of 28 districts at that time. There were 15 applications that applied that year, and less than half were approved. That tells you how rigorous it was to get the designation. We're very proud of that. But here we are 9 years later. There are 54 cultural districts in the state of Texas. That tells you how much they've grown. That tells you the need for funding for those cultural districts. So I am very much in support of anything you can do to support the Texas Commission on the Arts. Those types of funds, to give you an idea, over the past 5 years, we have received over $300,000 for cultural district grants. That's a lot of money in a short period of time. And what they have supported is they've supported the new bathrooms in the Main Street Visitor Center and Art Display area. That's not quite a finished project, but it was $40,000 went to that. That's money you didn't have to spend. It supported over $200,000 for the art festival over 5 years. That's $40,000 on average for 5 years. That's a lot of money. It supported the Railroad Museum restoration. A lot of people don't realize heritage preservation is a huge part of cultural districts. It's a part of our directive from the TCA. So I just really wanted to ask that you continue to support the cultural district as you have. You've done that with hot funds, but also at a state level, because it's so important to use this tool to bring money into this community. So anyway, sorry, I'm running out of breath, but anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Before we get into anything else and start taking action and so forth, we want to establish presence of a quorum, so we'll have a roll call. Council, Ward 1.
Here.
Ward 2. I can see him. Can you hear me? Yes. Matt?
You said here. You said here.
Okay. Ward 3?
Here.
Ward 4?
Here.
Mayor here. We do have a quorum. Okay, we have three other folks that had signed up to speak now. You can speak now. Wait till we get around to the public hearing on the subject. Richard Peters.
Thank you for your time. I'm Richard Peters, 440 Augusta Drive at the Country Club. So, speaking on the topic of the speed limit, we had a police study done on my street in September, a 7-day study. And the results of that study found that over 25% of the drivers going one direction on Augusta were going over the speed limit. Overall, it was 18%. So almost 20% of all drivers going up and down Augusta Drive were driving over the speed limit. Also found that there were 3 drivers that were over 55 miles an hour driving down Augusta Drive. You know, and that's ridiculous in a subdivision like that. Augusta is a very windy road. It has a lot of windy roads there, a lot of walkers there, a lot of deer, bicyclists, elderly people walking dogs. It's an area that, you know, we need some control of the drivers and the speed limit in that area. It's used as a thoroughfare often, coming from 35 to Business 35. You know, that's a shortcut through to get to certain parts of 35 in the city. And it's an area that really needs to be addressed. And I'm, you know, speaking in support of the chief's proposal to reduce the speed limit to 25 miles an hour. You know, there's some solutions. The first one, changing the speed limit. Enforcement would be good if we had people there, you know, writing tickets periodically. But I know there's, you know, it's a budget issue to have people, you know, posted on a regular basis there. I think most people know they can drive through that area, and there's no enforcement on a regular basis. The other one is something I've just recently seen since this study, is that, you know, now we have speed bumps over by the high school. Not a good solution as far as I'm concerned. You know, it's going to rattle a lot of cars, but it'll slow them down. But, you know, there are some solutions. I think the first, quickest and easiest one is reducing the speed limit. It's kind, you know, it's kind of human nature. Everybody wants to cheat a little bit. Well, if you're cheating at 30 miles an hour, you're driving at least 35. You know, if you're cheating at 25, well, then you're driving at 30. So just the fact that you reduce the speed limit by 5 miles an hour, hopefully is going to reduce the overall speed in the area, you know, to 30 miles an hour, which is the old speed limit. But this, I think this is a situation throughout the city that needs to be addressed. 16 seconds left. How's that?
Thank you, Mr. Peters.
Thank you very much.
Michael Gillam.
My name is Michael Gillam. I live at 1707 Picton Lane in Little Bay Shores. I've lived there for 5 years now. The 0.3 of a mile stretch on Picton Lane that's between Tooley Park Drive and Percival Avenue has 3 blind curves on it. During the time I've lived there, there's been 2 accidents on a 0.3 of a mile stretch in a residential neighborhood. One was a rollover. Prior to me moving there, there had been a rollover previously. All occurred on this 0.3 of a mile stretch between Tooley Park Drive and Percival Avenue on Picton Lane. In addition to the vehicle accidents, there's been multiple squirrels, possums, and cats that are run over that I've picked up off the road. Deer are abundant on Picton Lane, but to my knowledge, there's never been an accident yet involving a deer. There's no sidewalks on Picton Lane, and culverts are used for drainage on both sides of the street, making it necessary for anyone walking to walk in the street. Picton Lane is used as a shortcut to get to and from Key Allegro and its surrounding area from 35. During peak traffic hours, it can be very busy and dangerous to walk on Picton. Commercial trucks are particularly dangerous, as most are in a hurry to get to work or to get home. and many of these trucks are pulling trailers. My wife and I have had several vehicles that have come very close to hitting us during the time that we've been walking, and during the winter season, it's really risky because it gets dark so early. Picton is 22 feet wide, including at the curves. The average Ford pickup truck is 8 feet wide without the mirrors. Factor in the mirrors, and it's plain to see that there's very little room for two trucks to pass each other and will leave no room for pedestrians. There are 3 households raising their children on that stretch of Picton, and I'm sure their children would like to be able to play in the front yard and ride their bicycles outside. Over the 5 years I've lived on Picton, I've gone to the police department 4 times to look for help. I've contacted both my current councilman and my previous councilman looking for help, and I've had an online discourse with our police chief seeking help. I hope by speaking at this meeting, something can get done to remedy this dangerous situation before something horrible occurs. In addition to lowering the speed limit to 20 miles an hour, I would like to see speed bumps installed and signs on the street telling people at the point where they turn in that Picton is a 20-mile-an-hour street. And I'd like to add one thing that I didn't write down. After I wrote this, I took my dogs out for a walk, and on Picton, a guy came around the curve. Now, granted, he was probably going 30 miles an hour, but he came around the culvert, and he had to swerve to the other side of the street to miss him.
Thank you, Mr. Gillam. Appreciate it. Jenny Vanderplum.
Hi, I'm Jenny, and I'm actually your neighbor. I live on Shores Lane in Little Bay Shores, and I support both what Rick and Michael have been saying, because I'm also a jogger, and I walk with friends and family in Country Club going to the park and back. So I support the 20 miles per hour. I agree, and I've been in other towns that have 15 as a default. You can, of course, go up from there on your different roads, but through residential areas, there's no need to go faster than 15 miles per hour. You're already where you want to go when you're in a residential area. If you're leaving it, you should leave it slowly. I agree with the blind curves, and to add, because I am raising a child in that neighborhood, there are bus stops. I've even slowed down a sheriff's vehicle in the 5:45 in the morning pitch blackness to slow him down. And he told me he knew exactly what he was doing, but he almost hit my dog. So even our law enforcement people, yes, they're going 30 miles per hour, but it's too fast. They can't see us, especially in a high vehicle. The way Rockport was built and zoned, there are no sidewalks. We accept that, it's fine, but if people are not watching for you, you're in danger. So I agree with everything everyone else has said, and I just want to add, in our neighborhood in particular, we've got finally Little Bay Primary is going to be turned into, I can't remember exactly, a workforce development or some other thing with the Economic Development Council, as well as there is a, in my opinion, poorly placed Starbucks being built so that Thule Drive and, oh no, now I'm forgetting the name, and Percival are going to have even more traffic of people that don't live in that neighborhood, so they're not even going to know how many of us are walking with our dogs, our children, and things of that nature, as well as the apartments that have been completely redone. They look really good, but from what I hear, I believe they're going to be mostly Airbnbs. So again, people that don't know us, don't look for us, and drive like they're used to going to being in a bigger city, usually. So I just agree with the reduction of the default speed limit, and I also support, I have no problem with speed bumps because I'm raising a child that goes to the high school, and if you don't want to go over those speed bumps, don't go on that road. You don't actually have to unless you're going to the pool or the schools. So in our neighborhoods, if you don't have to go through there, you won't if you're going to go over a speed bump. So I actually support the use of speed bumps to really slow people down. I know not everyone agrees with that. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Nancy. Next item on the agenda is something that we kind of look forward to. We have city staff that do outstanding jobs for us, and we don't take probably as many opportunities as we could to recognize good work that they do. But this next is a matter to be handled by Police Chief Anderson.
Mayor, Council, thank you. It's not very often that we get to come up and give an award like what this is today. These officers that work the streets, they put their lives on the line, every day, but it's rare that there's an opportunity for them to come up and do something that Officer Garcia has done here in our city just recently. So I'll read this off. This is the life-saving award presented to Officer Elvin Garcia. On January 9th, 2025 at 3:03 p.m. while on routine patrol, you observed smoke and flames coming from a group of recreational vehicles at 921 Highway 188. You immediately called your observations out on the police radio and activated your body-worn camera. Showing extraordinary heroism and decisive action, you began evacuating and rescuing multiple residents and pets from the fully engulfed residences. Without regard for your own safety, you demonstrated unwavering bravery as you worked swiftly and effectively to guide those in immediate danger to safety. Your actions undoubtedly saved multiple lives and prevented further tragedy during this dire situation. Your ability to remain calm under immense pressure, your quick assessment of the scene, and your resourceful response exemplify the high standards of human compassion and civic responsibility. Your heroism stands as an inspiration to others, embodying the spirit of service and selflessness. It is with the utmost respect and gratitude that you're hereby awarded the Rockport Police Department's Life-Saving Award. Your actions on that day merit recognition not only for their life-saving impact, but also for their demonstration of extraordinary character and integrity. Your courage and humanity serve as a powerful reminder of the difference one individual can make in the lives of others. So I want to add that Officer Garcia this day, he was on patrol and he saw the flames coming, and there's many people running around, but nobody had called 911 to report this fire that was going on. And as EJ was on scene, we have his body cam footage of it, a very short amount before he lost it and it got burned in the fire. But he was going from RV to RV to RV, and the people were in the RVs that were basically on fire, and they had no idea that their residence was on fire. He probably saved at least 6 lives this day, but probably many more, and several animals as well. So he did a wonderful job. Body cams can be replaced. We lost that. We didn't get to see the full extent of his heroism that day, but we did see the beginning of it. And it was an amazing sight to see. So I congratulate you. This is very well earned. He also gets a ribbon bar that he'll be able to put on his Class A uniform, and we're happy to have him on the department. So congratulations.
Next item on the agenda is a consent agenda. The following items may be acted upon in a single motion. No separate discussion or action on any of them. These items will be held unless pulled at the request of a member of the City Council. We have had one request from Chamber of Commerce to remove their report for a later date because there was a mistake made in it. They want to get that corrected, so I'll entertain a motion to remove that.
Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented, removing item 5.10, postpone that one until a later date.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further question? Not, we'll have call for a vote. Ward 1?
Aye.
Ward 2?
Aye.
Ward 3?
Aye.
Ward 4?
Aye.
Mayor, aye, it's unanimous. Next item on the agenda, consider potential of reducing the 30-mile-an-hour default speed limit in the City of Rockport, potentially affecting all residential neighborhoods. First thing we're going to do before the chief gets to talk to you a little bit about this, we're going to hold a public hearing. And as I said a little while ago, you were free to speak then. You're also free to speak now. If you would like to address this subject, if you will come up and give us your name and your address in town, you've got 3 minutes to come talk. Does anyone else wish to address council? Yes, ma'am. Come right ahead.
Thank you. Rockport is just a wonderful place, and there are very few places anywhere in the United States where you can walk out of your home, go to the beach, beautiful neighborhood. I live in Rockport Country Club. My name is Celina Borden at 119 Peachtree. It is dangerous to walk at this current speed limit. My husband was almost run over about a year ago. People, you've heard it before. Everything that was said before is a problem. And I do hope that you guys, notwithstanding whatever's going on in the rest of the day, that you do consider lowering the speed limit. I think it would be really helpful. And if we don't mind speed bumps at all, because it's a matter of public safety. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else wish to speak on this item? Chief?
Mayor, Council, this is our second public discussion that we've had about the speed limit change. And I'll just reiterate what we went over during the December meeting. Yes, ma'am. Oh, sorry.
I was pointed out that I didn't close the public hearing.
Go ahead.
Public hearing is closed and it is 6:52.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. So I'll reiterate kind of what we went over during our first, our meeting, our discussion that we had during the December meeting. The idea of dropping the speed limit to 25 miles an hour came about from some of our neighborhood associations approaching me and with their concerns about the speeds in their neighborhood. And I think that the overall consensus is that the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit, even in some of these neighborhoods, especially with the blind curves, is too fast. There has been some questions and some concerns from some of our citizens that they want the speed limit to be as low as 20 miles an hour. TxDOT does not give a municipality the authority to lower a speed limit to 25 miles an hour in a residential area. So our alternative is just lower it to 25 if we choose to do so. There are some reporting requirements that the police department would have to do moving forward if we do this, and it's a simple reporting process that we'd have to do on a yearly basis that involves traffic tickets, traffic warnings, and any collisions that occur as a result of speed. But it's not anything that we certainly have a problem doing if we do lower the speed limit. So some of the studies that I'll go over again that we went over last time is you have up to a 70% chance, a 70% higher chance of being seriously injured or killed if you're struck by a vehicle that's going 30 miles an hour as opposed to 25 miles an hour. Mr. Gillam, who he's left now, who lives on Picton, that is a roadway. It's a very narrow roadway, and it has very sharp S curves on that roadway. And I'll tell you, that roadway for sure, 30 miles an hour is not a good speed for that road. Even 25 miles an hour, even though we can't lower it lower than 25, it would be adequate for that road. It's a dangerous roadway. I'll also reiterate that we aren't having a large spell of people being struck by vehicles in residential neighborhoods, but if the perception of our residents is that the speed is too high, I think it's something that we should certainly listen to. My request to the council is if you have direction to me on whether you want to move forward with lowering the speed limit in the city limits, we can present you with an ordinance at a later meeting and let y'all debate that.
I think that we really put
the big directive on getting this done. I do have a lot of residents and citizens that reached out to me and just had multiple problems with the speed on in the Rockport Country Club. So I think with me, just for my citizens, especially with Strip Club as well, I think lowering it is going to be a good, it's going to help them out in the long run. I didn't know about the 20 miles per hour, but I know the 25, if we can do anything to help, that would help.
And I'd like to add that we did a local speed study on Augusta Drive in the Country Club, and when TxDOT does a speed study, if the overall speed is lower than the speed limit above an 85 percentile, then that is an adequate speed. The speed study that we did on Augusta Drive, the overall speed was of cars going under the speed limit was 82%, roughly 82%. So we did have a higher threshold of vehicles speeding in that particular study. So that kind of proves that more vehicles are speeding than what TxDOT would determine at the 85 percentile.
Yes, and I think on top of that, I know we had talked about the speed bumps, but at that time, I mean, those are pretty spendy. I think we can start with this and see how this works in the neighborhoods. I think that will, at least have a good start to trying to fix the problem in our local neighborhoods. On top of that, I do see just to kind of the stop sign issue. I mean, I live right off of St. Andrew in Augusta, and that stop sign right there, I'll probably see more people not stop than stop at that stop sign. And that's going to be something we have to work on, like getting more patrol. Obviously, that's, like you said, budget, all that good stuff. So just to say this is a good start, I'm for it. I want to do the 25. I think my neighborhoods in my ward are going to really appreciate that, and their protection is what matters. So I appreciate you guys taking that head on and getting it done.
Yeah, I appreciate all of the data and studies that you provided in support for this. My ward also sees a lot of pedestrians walking in that area downtown and on Austin Street. We have a lot of development occurring in this area. We also have a lot of visitors that come in. They're very unfamiliar and unaware of our roadways. We may have more knowledge of, blind spots and things like that, but as much as we can put out to ensure roadway safety, I think that we should. So I definitely would love to see an ordinance.
Appreciate all the data you've provided for us, the speed studies in Country Club, the one we did in front of Mr. Gillam's house there on Picton. And I know we spoke at the Key Lake HOA, and that was one of their concerns as well, was speed limits and possible speed bumps and everything. And it didn't seem like there was too many people not in favor of lowering a speed limit. So, we may get some pushback, but also just want to point out this is not revenue driven, not police driven. This is driven by citizen complaints or concerns that this isn't just going to be an enforcement tool for the city of Rockport to go generate tickets. As you presented to us data in the past, that we don't really write a whole lot of speeding tickets. That's not y'all's primary concern. So creating this ordinance or lowering the speed limit that's not the intent, is to generate more revenue for the police department. So I support the ordinance or any future ordinance you may bring to us.
Yeah,
so
and you're exactly right. The directive that I give our officers for the city of Rockport is voluntary compliance. And sometimes we have to do write tickets, and you can look at the city manager's report that she'll be giving y'all later, and it'll give a percentage of warnings that we give versus actual citations that citizens have to take to municipal court and pay for. So it's a very low percentage of the amount of people that we give citations versus warnings.
Matt?
I would like to echo what Brad said. The folks that I spoke with in Ward 2, almost exclusively for this, they are looking from a safety perspective in a lot of folks walking and utilizing the roadways with no sidewalks. And the Ward 2 folks that I spoke with are in agreement as well. They'd like to see the reduction. So I'd be looking forward to that ordinance.
And I would like to add just a couple of comments or perhaps a question. One of our 30-mile-an-hour roadways that we have is not able to be changed. So Market Street east of Business 35 it's a state numbered highway, and so we do not have the authority to change that speed limit. That would have to stay at 30 miles an hour. The only other non-residential roadways that we have that's 30 miles an hour is Broadway, as it parallels Little Bay, and then Fulton Beach Road, from the Key Allegro Bridge to the Fulton Broadway is all 30 miles an hour. I would leave it up to the council if y'all want to lower that speed limit to 25 miles an hour. I will add that Fulton lowered their residential speed limits to 25, including Fulton Beach Road in the city limits of Fulton. So those are the only non-residential 30-mile-an-hour speed zones.
I would like to caution folks, someone said in one of our meetings one time that they heard me say that lowering the speed limit won't make people slow down. What it will do is slow down the legal drivers, and you'll see the average speed slow down in your neighborhood. I would caution you that there's not a speed limit that we can put out there that will make everyone obey the law, and that's a concern. And I would encourage you to be just as careful when the speed limit is 25 as you would when it's 30 or 40 or whatever, because it takes a sense of responsibility on the part of drivers for them to lower their speed, and the signs a lot of times don't have that effect on them, but it will lower the average speed limit in your neighborhood, and the fact that the people will feel safer in their neighborhood is worth a lot. So I support the idea of doing it, but please be cautious anyway. Find us an ordinance.
Yeah. I mean, I would be in favor of lowering those too. I think Fulton Beach Road especially, you have the church there, you have people are on their golf carts, you have a lot of people walking back and forth on there, but do you get a lot of complaints?
Yeah, and I would support that too, Chief. If Fulton did it there, and they have restaurants on both sides of Fulton Beach Road, that's kind of the main thoroughfare for pedestrian traffic. Same thing for Broadway, the Rookery, we got people park on the east side of Broadway to go fishing, and then the closer you get to Little Bay Shores and then Key Allegro and Harbor Oaks, more pedestrian traffic, golf carts and whatnot. So I would support that if we drop that to 25. I don't see a huge negative impact there. I understand completely Market Street's 2 lanes each way, right, with the center lane, turn lane. So obviously we can't do it anyways because it's a state road, but at 30, I think that's fine too.
I would agree with that. And can you maybe look at Picton and maybe the other couple of streets that have the sharp turns, maybe see if they are signs or something we can do to help?
Yeah, it's definitely something we can look at for lighting on Picton. It is additional cost as opposed to just replacing the existing signs that we have, but I agree that Picton probably could use some extra signage.
Yeah, just the ones that you see more of the traffic or the accidents happening. I think just to start there. And thank you for putting the signs out in front of the neighborhoods. I think I haven't seen that before, and I think that was really helpful to let neighborhood know that there's going to be a public hearing.
Absolutely. And just so the council knows, every residential street does not have signage of 30 miles an hour. It's going to be something that we're going to have to advertise as a city and let our public know and our visitors know that the default speed limit in the city is 25 miles an hour, even if it's not marked on a particular roadway. Any unmarked roadways are automatically going to be 25 miles an hour.
And that'll just be with the signboard. We do it with the signboard.
We can use signboards. We can use social media. We can use our city webpage. I anticipate it would probably be, if the ordinance passes, it could probably be 6 months to a year before we get all the signage put up. But the speed limit is not changing to 25 miles an hour until the signage is up.
Okay.
Then I know I'm going to get this question from the residents in Ward 4. When do you think you can present the ordinance in front of us? A realistic time?
With the direction that I've got tonight, I anticipate the ordinance will come to you next month in February, and I believe you'll have 2 readings of that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Next item on the agenda, consider the approval of first of 2 readings of ordinance calling for the City of Rockport general election to be held on Saturday, May the 3rd, 2025, for the purpose of electing 2 council members, one from Ward 1, one from Ward 3, by the qualified voters of the City of Rockport, establish early voting location, polling place for this election, and making provisions for conducting the election. That's a good one.
So I sent y'all a amended ordinance. I had inadvertently left out telling people where to vote on election day, so I had to add that in there. If we have to have an election, once the judges are appointed, we'll have to bring back a separate ordinance amending, because the city council does have to confirm the appointments of any judges and alternate judges.
I would like to approve agenda item number 7 with the amendment.
Any further questions?
Made a motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion second. Any further questions? If not, we'll call for the vote. Ward 1?
Aye.
Ward 2?
Aye.
Ward 3?
Aye.
Ward 4?
Aye.
Mayor, aye. It's unanimous. Next item, consider approval on the second and final reading of ordinance 1961, amending the official zoning map as request to rezone the property located at 2101, 2111, 2121, FM 3036, also known as Lot 122, Fulton Outlots, Lot 1, Block 1, the Oasis subdivision being 10.0972 acres in a planned unit development currently zoned B1, General Business District, repealing all ordinances in conflict therewith, providing for severability, providing an effective date. Ms. Dietrich.
No changes. Ms. Kathleen Lookadoo is present this evening and representing Mr. Buttram if you have any other questions.
Okay. Y'all have questions for her? Any questions from council? If there are no questions, do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve agenda item number 8 as read.
I have
No
a motion.
changes.
Do I have a second?
I will second.
I have a second. Motion second. Any further questions? Not, we'll call for a vote. Ward 1.
Aye.
Ward 2.
Aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
Mayor, aye. It's unanimous. Consider approval on the second and final reading of ordinance 1960 to amend ordinance 1944, amending the Convention and Visitor Bureau Board by adding an ex-officio position for Aransas County Navigation District member. That's a good one.
There are no changes since the last reading.
Okay. Any question, council? Now, do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve agenda number 9 as presented.
I have a motion. I have a
Second.
second. I have a second. Any further question? We'll call for a vote. Ward 1.
Aye.
Ward 2.
Aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
Mayor, aye. It's unanimous. Consider process to be used for the appointment of members of the Reinvestment Zone No. 1 Board of Directors. That's a good one.
Actually, I'll take that if you don't mind.
Okay.
We've established our TIRZ. I know we're waiting on some other entities that want board members. So far, the indication is that the county will want to, and then we'll have one for the navigation district. So I think it's pertinent that we go ahead and appoint at least our 4 members, so I can get the TIRZ registered with the existing members. And then we will come back and add whoever the county and the navigation district wishes. We need to go ahead and get that board solidified for the city and have them meet and get started. What we want to talk about now is the process. How do you want to do that? We have several applications. We certainly have more than 4. Would you like to interview those people individually? Would you like to just go through the paperwork and decide on your 4? What would you like to see as a process to select those 4 people?
How many applicants do we have so far?
10?
I think it's like, 10 to 15.
Okay.
Quite a few. I think it would be pertinent, it's my opinion, it's worth what you pay for it, to have a works or a early meeting and have an executive session where you interviewed maybe your top 5, 7, 9 individually. I think that we can do a matrix and rank the top. I mean, even, I would say top 7, much like we do for applicants that come in. We figure out who everybody's top 7 are, and then interview those people. And then you decide in executive session who your 4 appointees are, and then we'll appoint them in a public session. If somebody has something better, certainly we can do whatever you want.
I like the process of maybe not all 10 or 15, but do bring, give us all 15, let us grade, if you will, or rank, and then submit that to y'all, and then y'all, we possibly sit down with 7 or whatever the number may be.
We'll look at the scores, and if there's, 0.2 difference, and we'll bring 7, 9, 6, whatever the logical cutoff is, if that's okay.
Will there be a scoring sheet? Will we have something to look at that is standard?
I will make you one, absolutely. I will pull the ordinance and see what the criteria are, and we'll make a matrix metric based on that, and I'll get them to you in a week and a half.
Do we want to do that board like we've done some others from certain backgrounds? Not necessarily just tourism, but development, or maybe tourism, and is that how?
I believe that it's laid out in the ordinance that I could be wrong, but I think there's certain ideal candidate qualifications written in that ordinance. But I'll look, but yes, you would probably want a diversified background. You'd want banking, you would want finance or development. You would want a broad background. If it's not laid out in the ordinance, it's going to be up to you to select those wisely. The board that you appoint here is very important.
Yes, ma'am. That's, I want to try to get it right.
Yes, sir. If it's not laid out in the ordinance, I will do maybe a tip sheet with suggestions and put that in the packet with it.
I'm okay.
Okay, so we'll take that process. I'll have something. How about I'll give you a good week before the next meeting, and then do you guys want to start? Is it the 11th?
Yes.
Do you want to start at 5? Go into executive session, start interviews, and then you'll have at least until 6:30 to finish those up. We'll have Shelley bring us some pizza or something, so you won't be famished by the time we get up here at 6:30. Okay, so we're gonna plan on the next meeting starting at 5. You're gonna open session and go straight to executive session for interviews. We'll have your people lined up. I got it.
Very good, thank you. Next item, consider approval of resolution 2025-05R, supporting the funding and promotion of art programs and initiatives in the 89th Texas Legislative Session. That's a good one. Jennifer, oh, there she is.
So what this is Louise might have to come up and help us too, but he has asked for your support to go to these different organizations in front of the legislator and ask for support to fund them in different areas, but I'll let him explain that more.
Yeah. I think you heard a little bit about it yesterday when you visited us, but basically, as a representative of the Board of Directors of the Texans for the Arts, the Texans for the Arts Board has come up with a legislative agenda that is supporting 3 areas. The first area is to protect the hotel occupancy tax for the arts, the portion that's allotted for the arts across the state of Texas. The second one is to fund the base funding for the Texas Commission on the Arts, and then there's 2 exceptions. One, to fund an additional $9 million for the additional programs of the Texas Commission on the Arts, which fund organizations under Arts Create and Arts Respond, and then an additional $4.5 million for cultural districts across the state of Texas, which is a growing area, as you heard earlier from Jennifer. So the third one is really important, and we're putting a new emphasis on the film industry in Texas. You may have seen on social media and on television commercials featuring Mr. Quaid, Dennis Quaid, Matthew McConaughey, and people like that. Taylor Sheridan, who produces those programs that everybody's watching right now, like Yellowstone. And so they are really interested in making the film industry in Texas more vibrant and more robust than it is. So that is Texans for the Arts legislative agenda. The primary focus, of course, is always more funding for the arts through the Texas Commission on the Arts. And this resolution will help me go to the meetings that I set up this morning with Representative Todd Hunter and Senator Lois Colcourse on Wednesday, February 5th, to basically lobby for that agenda. And we really appreciate you coming up with this resolution. I look forward to taking it to the representative and the senator. Any questions?
Mayor, to continue our support of the arts in the city of Rockport, I support. I move to approve item 11 as presented.
I have a motion, do I have a
I'll
second?
second.
I have a second. Any further question? If not, we'll call for a vote. Ward 1.
Aye.
Ward 2.
Aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
Mayor, aye. It's unanimous.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Louis.
Thank you all.
Other action items and updates. Consider approval of an award to Pool Sure for the Rockport Aquatic Center renovation project in the amount not to exceed $300,267.80.
Mayor, Council,
Kimberly.
apologize. Brittany wasn't able to be here, so I'm stepping in just for the moment, but they did receive sealed bids this last Thursday, and of those, the winning bid was for Pool Sure for $300,267.80. Do you have any questions? There was a presentation a couple meetings ago in which they went over all the things that they needed. So if you need any reminders, we can pull those back up.
Any questions, council?
I move to approve item 12 as presented.
Have a motion, have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. Any further questions? Call for a vote. Ward 1.
Aye.
Ward 2.
Aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
Mayor, aye. It's unanimous. Consider approval to move or cancel February 25th, 2025 City Council regular meeting. Proposed alternate dates being Monday, February 24th, or Thursday, February 27th. This is in regard for Aransas County Day, I believe, in Austin.
Right. So I think I got it right this time. It is a 2-day event. So the meeting that we are scheduled to have is on the 25th, which is one of the days for the Aransas County Days up in Austin. So you have 3 choices. You can cancel it, but I think we have some items that have to move forward. Or you can hold it on Monday the 24th or Thursday the 27th.
Can I ask a question to council? Who's all going to this meeting?
I'm right here. I haven't been able to make a decision.
Me either. I just didn't know if we were making that, if we had all set that, if it was gonna be a quorum. You know, if we had enough people here, then it might just be
I think the mayor, you're kind of leaning one way or the other. If we can.
I haven't decided yet for sure.
I haven't either. So I was just wondering before we change dates and do all these things. So, I mean,
I want to say that more than likely, I'm going to have to make the decision to stay back here. Just because the demands I have outside of council.
kind of where you're at with that too,
So,
with work and everything, so I'm not sure, but, I mean, do you want to just move it just in case? I mean, does a better day work for you guys, that Monday or Thursday?
Monday.
Matt likes Monday.
Is Monday, we travel up on Tuesday, is that correct? Or is that's the date?
Tuesday's travel.
Then there's something Tuesday night.
Tuesday night with the,
Yes,
ma'am, and then Wednesday's if Monday works better for Matt especially, I'm fine with the Mondays. Over the Thursday, but
I'll be here either way, so it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, Tuesday is the travel day. Wednesday is the day you come back. So Monday would work. All right, I make a motion to move the regular scheduled February 25th meeting to Monday, February 24th.
Have a motion to have a second.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further question? Call for vote. Ward 1.
Aye.
Ward 2.
Aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
Mayor, aye. It's unanimous. Next item, consider approval of 2025 City of Rockport legislative focus for the 89th legislative session. Let's go to
So we have a PowerPoint for this. It's not very long. And so we'll start off with the 89th regular legislative session started on January the 14th, and we'll end on.
Hold on, Shelley, it's not the right one.
Sorry, you went away. We'll get it right.
There we go. So anyway, and it will end on June the 2nd, unless, of course, the governor authorizes, a special called meeting or a special called legislative session. So as of today, there's 3,032 bills that have been filed. Currently, TML is tracking 739 that can potentially affect the city, that are city related. The last day for filing is March the 14th. So while attending a bi-monthly call that I have to attend for TMCA with TML, they really are pushing for cities to get involved, to create their own type of items that they want to track. They encourage that you take, that you build your relationships with your legislators. One of the attorneys did say something that's really kind of stuck with me. And what she said was bad bills sometimes pass because they do not receive opposition. So that's why it's really important. Here's some tips about staying involved. And I'm not really going to read any of those to you, but I will tell you that they did say to write your legislators, make sure that they know, here's what will affect us when that happens, or this is good for us, this is good for our taxpayers. But they also said to let them know that if you have questions or want to know how it can affect, to please call us. So those, so we did kind of draft some letters that for y'all to, if you agree with that, we could send letters. We could get the mayor to sign some of these, telling them, here's what we're looking at, and here's what will affect us. And you did in the packet was the focus document, and in there were some items that we feel that would be very good for the city for us to focus on. And how it will work. And due to the large number of city-related bill, the Rockports decided to create a legislative team. And so the bills will be divided up. They're sent to us in categories every Friday. So we will take those and divide those up between certain employees. On your focus, we did have some employees' names. There were a couple employees' names that were left off. There will be other employees involved in this, and we wouldn't mind even if you would like to be involved in this. but the team will meet to discuss areas of support or concern. The team will then contact your legislators and TML. TML is asked that every time we send a letter to send them a copy as well, so they can help support us. And then, of course, if you are asked to, or the city manager is asked to testify, we would help give you some talking points. But, so here's what we're looking for, what we need from you. On the last page of the focus, do you have any additional legislative request items? Or are you good with the ones we put forward?
Yeah, I like the ones you put forward.
Okay.
I think they were thought out.
Okay. Are there areas that you would like to assist with tracking? If there are, just let us know. Yeah.
You could probably guess which ones I want.
Are you okay with letters being sent to our legislatures?
Yes.
Okay. Who do you want to sign those? The mayor, the city manager, or both? Whoever we can get?
I would say whoever you can get.
Okay.
I think that'd be the easiest for you both.
Okay. And then after the final days of the file billing, would y'all be interested in having a couple of lunch and learn meetings to receive updates on city-related bills?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Also, we'll be sending the final version of that legislative focus packet that she gave you to Senator Colhorst and Chairman Hunter, so they'll, first of all, know that we're involved. I don't know that we have been in the past. I don't know what the involvement was before I got here, but we want to make it known that we are interested, we're tracking, and we'll be following them. So we'll send that with a cover letter. This is what we're going to work on. Shelley's done a very thoughtful and thorough job on this, so we'll get that out to both of the reps and to some others that are just in the area. We'll stick a stamp on a bunch. We can go beyond just our representatives as well.
I think it'd be good to continue to track the ones that do have a potential effect on us for sure, and also either show our support or non-support for those that affect us either in a good way or a negative way. My comment on the signature, would it be better for the mayor to sign as an elected official? Do you think that would carry? Do you think that would carry weight with the elected body,
Most
the legislative body?
There'll be some instances that will do both, depending on what the bill is and what it affects. I think the mayor is the most effective. Some of them, it might be we want a full council to sign it, so we get all 5 of you to sign. And then there may be some things that are just more appropriate to come from me. So if you're okay with us kind of making that judgment, then.
I mean, that's, yes.
But you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Please make that judgment, and if it's something that's, I don't want to say willy-nilly, but if it's something that's simple that you don't have to poll all 5 of us to get together and sign a piece of paper, then please, by all means.
Yeah. So there will be times when all of our affiliations that we all belong to will say, hey, this bill, look at this bill, we need your help, we need to stop it. And so there will be those circumstances too, besides us just doing the tracking.
And so we'll have staff writing letters, in support of their professional organizations, and then we'll probably get, you to write in support of our staff. And it's a little bit of a spider web, but I think it's worthwhile for us to be involved. I don't fault the state, but we see a lot more anti-city bills coming out of it. And so we at least need to make our position known, and then, we'll of course comply with whatever comes out of the state, and we're fine with that. But I think we at least need to do the best we can to protect what we're trying to do for Rockport, and not worry about what Austin's gonna look like and worry about what Rockport's gonna look like.
I think it's great. Thank you. I mean, knowledge is power. Legislation and bills, they're very complicated, very confusing, and if you guys can help, get what helps Rockport out there and letting us know what we can do to help make that happen. That's absolutely a good forward, positive forward.
So I guess we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve agenda item number 14 as presented.
And I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions? If not, we'll call for a vote. Ward 1.
Aye.
Ward 2.
Aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
Mayor, aye. Unanimous. Consider presentation and request for funding from the class of 2025 Aransas Leadership Class for class project.
This will be their second no-show, so we will put it on the agenda again.
Okay.
Wanna
Thank
table
you.
it?
Were they asked to come?
Yeah,
They knew about it. I don't. I think we just pull it.
Yeah. This
See
is
the
the
city
second.
manager's update.
I won't take much of your time. I'll point out a couple of things. You have the manager's update in front of you. As always, it's gonna be on the website. Couple of things that I'll start with. I don't think communications gets enough kudos, but her first slide here says that they basically took about a little less than 30,000 calls this last year, 2024. If you, don't know, I don't do math, but if you pull that out, that's 3 calls an hour, every hour, around the clock, every day. So we know that some hours are dead, so that's a lot of phone calls. I know that's their job, but I just wanted to recognize that those ladies are working the phones. You don't have any gentlemen, all ladies. At this time, it's all females. Okay, so the ladies do a great job, and I think that they need some recognition because they're the ones that just work in the background. Lee told me once, first responders. First responders. If I'm in trouble, I want Lee on the phone, I'll tell you that. And then we have a little bit about the water usage. You can kind of follow that through the year. The drought contingency emergency information, we've also put that in the packet, so that'll be on the website for anybody that wants to give that a look. Unspent bond funds, I'm not flipping my pages, just talking. Unspent bond funds, when I first got here, you guys had just identified about $5 million in unspent bonds from previous years, and projects to put those on. All those projects did not come to fruition, but I think it was stressed to me the importance of getting that money spent on the appropriate items. So if you can look at the spreadsheet, there's 4 items that are still in progress or scheduled for later this year, and that will round out the unspent bond funds. I think it's important to note, though, that the wastewater treatment plant, from the date you started it, was a 2-year project. So that's probably gonna linger into 2026. We won't finish it this year, probably. So hopefully we can put all that to bed. We've spent a lot of time being very thoughtful and making sure that all of the projects comply with the historic bond covenants under which the money was borrowed. So each item that's on here meets the qualifications of the pot of money that it was spent out of. So Kimberly's done a really good job of tracking that and getting that organized for us, and I really appreciate that. This took a little longer than we all thought it would, but we also wanted to make sure it's done right. As always, the chief wants us to know that he is maintaining his 4.5 stars overall, and they are doing a fantastic job. Then I had one more that I wanted to point out. Let's see. Oh, I don't think it's in here, but what did we get this week? We got our reaccreditation this week.
We did, it is up there.
Oh, it is? Is that the letter that nobody can read? Okay.
We got, if you don't mind,
Please do.
So we just got our reaccreditation, which we do every 4 years. Mayor Jairo started this many years ago, and it's through the Texas Police Chiefs Association. Being an accredited agency really means a lot. It's very important. It means that we're meeting the best practices of the best police departments in the state of Texas. And so it's a huge accomplishment to be able to be reaccredited, and some representatives from the Texas Police Chiefs Association will be here in March, and they will present it to the council. So.
All right. We know we're doing a great job. We just want the rest of the world to know. And if you see Stephanie Garcia, if she's still breathing, give her a pat on the back, because I think she worked her hiney off for this. Our new benefits enrollment, we did a lot of, if you'll remember, we've switched insurance companies. I'm going to tell you that's no small feat. Another one that if she's still breathing the next time you see her is Casey Edens. She's done a fantastic job. We've switched over, and it's been with minimal disruption, I would say. I have my all-staff meeting in a few weeks, so we'll see if the satisfaction is still there. And but otherwise, the transition, not a problem. Parks and Rec, I know you've been seeing it everywhere, but we have a park ranger program. They were on the news, and ironically, the park ranger got to help a kid in need at the park on the news. It couldn't have been more perfect. So they're doing a great job. They've modeled that after the city of Round Rock, who was incredibly generous with their time and information, and that's a good thing they've got going up on there. Hopefully we can open it up to citizens, but right now it's just for staff. We've got park rangers wandering around the park. Archery range really has gotten a lot of attention and usage, so we're really proud of that, because basically she took a Quonset hut and some donated equipment and made a program out of it. So we're real proud of Brittany there. Anybody that I didn't mention today, it doesn't mean we're not proud of you, it's just the ones we got today. You see the financials from Robbie, so you know he's working his tail off, and of course Carrie brings us something new every week, and we really do have a great team. And these ladies, Bob, they need to be recognized. They work hard. They work hard for y'all, and they work hard for the citizens. Anyway, that's my report, and I'll never quit tooting their horn. I'll take questions. Okay.
Thank you.
Rockport City Council will now go into an executive session related to Texas Government Code Section 551.071, 072, 074, 076, 087, 089, and 0745. These deal with consultation with attorney, real property, personnel matters, security, economic development negotiations, IT security, and personnel matters affecting County Advisory Board. We are in executive session. It is 7:37. What to say? It is 9:04 p.m. We're back in general session.
Mayor, I move to motion to remove municipal clerk position. Sorry, move municipal court clerk position to court administrator, and remove the court administrator duties from the municipal court judge. In that position, a salary not to exceed $58,500.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Any further debate? We will call for a vote. Ward 1?
Aye.
Ward 3?
Aye.
Ward 4?
Aye.
Mayor, aye. It is unanimous.
Motion to adjourn?
I have a motion to adjourn.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh. Council report.
Go ahead.
Oh, let's see. Attended a South Rockport meeting for Councilwoman Rangel and city manager. They were both unable to attend. I attended that on their behalf, and the great attendance is always at the South Rockport Neighbors Associate meeting, and well received information given there. Also on Saturday morning, attended the Smithsonian kickoff, along with the grand opening, if you will, of the community building down at between the courthouse and City Hall, as well attended. And it was a kickoff of the Chinese New Year, and some of our local citizens did a parade, a dragon parade, and I just want to commend Navigation District Commissioner Longwin and his family for putting that on. It was awesome. And anyway, the kids enjoyed it, the adults enjoyed it, everybody had a great time there. That's all I have, Mayor.
Pretty much covers everything of downtown. So I was supposed to have our Rockport Country Club HOA, but with the cold, that was held off. So that will be this next Tuesday, and that will be at 5:30. That's about all I have going on.
Yeah, definitely the kickoff to the Smithsonian. I know that they're going to be open for the next couple of months, so it's definitely important to get down there. They're going to have a bunch of exhibits. Other than that, just dealing with a lot of sickness and illness going around, so I hope everybody stays well. But not too much. I do appreciate Brad attending the South Rockport Neighbors meeting for me. Much appreciated. I was able to zoom into a portion of that. A lot of good information, a lot of good public questions. So I'm really happy that they held that for some really good turnout and attendance.
I don't have anything to report. I have been out of town because of surgery for my wife and so forth and some things, and missed a couple of meetings, and appreciate y'all getting by so terribly well without me that I wasn't needed at all. But it's good to be back.
Make a motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned.